Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons about joining the Army and the Army in general. But without further ado, let's get to it. What is up, guys? Ben Allen back again with another video, and like I just said, we're gonna be talking about the pros and cons of joining the Army and just the Army in general. All right, so if you guys are excited for that, be sure to comment down below what you think is the best thing about joining the Army, the best thing about the Army in general, and just the worst thing about joining the Army and the worst thing about the Army in general as well. Let me know down in the comment section your thoughts. But before we jump into that, for those of you that are new here, my name is Ben Allen. I did 4 years active duty as a 68 whiskey in the Army. I got out in September 2019, did the civilian thing for a few months, then decided to join the reserves. I've been in the reserves now for about a year and a half, so I have that active duty knowledge and that reserve knowledge. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, hit me up on my Instagram at Ben_Allen175. It's the best possible place to reach me. I'll try to get back to your all's questions as fast as I can. And with that being said, guys, be sure to like this video if you're excited for it, and also comment down below your thoughts again. And most importantly, guys, take the 2 seconds it takes to subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit 30K here very soon. You guys can help that out. It takes a simple click of a button, and you guys are, subscribed to the channel. Turn on the bell notification as well. That way you guys can be up to date whenever I drop new content, as well as go live here on the channel. We go live every single Wednesday, or at least we try to, and we try to post a small 60-second clip that has hints, tips, and tricks for joining the Army every single day. And we post a main video on Friday, talking about whatever the topic is for that day. But with all that said, guys, let's go ahead and jump into the pros of joining the Army and just the Army overall in general. Then we're going to hit the cons towards the middle / end of this video. All right, but first off, one of the biggest pros to me, in my personal opinion, is the educational benefits, guys. Let's be honest. If you're thinking about joining, chances are some of you guys are thinking of joining because you want the college, you want the GI Bill, you want the educational benefits that joining the Army, the military in general, has to offer, right? I mean, think about it. The GI Bill, once you get out of the military, is goated. I think it covers up to 36 months worth of schooling. If you enlist in Texas, like I did, I know you get the Hazelwood Act, which is like an extra 150 college credit hours, I think, that you can either use yourself or you can pass on to your children without there having to be any, certain amount of time served. So the Hazelwood Act is goated as well. And just that's for when you're out, right? So say you do, your 3 years, you get your 100% GI Bill, you're awesome, you can go to college. And another great thing about the GI Bill is, it also covers the cost of like the books you might need, as well as housing. So say you need an apartment, right? They're going to give you BAH, which is basic allowance for housing, similar to what you'd be getting in the Army as if you were married or whatever, and they're going to be giving you that at the rate of an E5, whatever the cost of living is in that area. So you can get an apartment, whatever it is, or start making payments on a house, while you're going to school. But you can only use it while you're going to school, so keep that in mind, right? Another thing is that while you're in the Army, right, you have tuition assistance. I think you get about like $4,000 a year of tuition assistance, which is great. So you don't even have to touch your GI Bill, and you can start getting some school done while you're in active duty, taking some online classes, whatever it may be. And I think if that's what you're into, education, getting a degree, all that type of stuff, and that's why you joined or why you're thinking of joining, educational benefits are, just amazing. They come in handy, especially if you know how to use them. And there's a whole bunch of other benefits as well, guys, which, you can Google, you can look into, especially when you get out. There's a lot of VA benefits, that help out veterans, whatever it may be. So feel free to look into that. I think that's just one of the best things out there. So yeah, another great benefit of the Army and joining the Army is the financial stability it's going to provide you with, guys. Because yeah, you don't get paid a shit ton in the Army, but you also don't have to worry about rent, housing, electricity, gas, any of like the utilities if you're a single soldier, right? Because because if you're a single soldier, you're living in the barracks, you know, they're covering all that. You get a room for free, you get the washer, dishes, all that type of stuff for free. You don't have to pay any utilities, and really the only bills you'd have to pay in the Army, for example, myself, I only had a phone bill and a car bill, so everything else was just being pocketed straight into my accounts. And you know, I knew when I was getting paid, right? I was getting paid the 1st and the 15th. If you have USAA or Navy Federal, you might get paid a day or two beforehand. So that's amazing because you know exactly how much you're going to get paid. You know exactly when you're going to get paid. The only time that's going to change is if you get promoted or demoted. You know, your pay is going to vary a little bit here and there depending on what rank you are. So keep that in mind. But it just gives you that financial freedom to know that you're going to get paid. You know when you're going to get paid, and you can have that money. You can save it. You can budget accordingly. You don't have to worry about, oh, how many hours do I have to work today in order to get this much? No, because you show up, you can go to work for 2 hours in the Army. You're still going to get paid the same. You can go to work for 10 hours. Keep that in mind. The hours are uneven. We're gonna hit that in the cons, right? But yeah, you can work 10 hours, you're getting paid the same. 2 hours, you're getting paid the same. You could literally be off on a Monday for like President's Day or something. You're still getting paid the same. 2 weeks taking leave for Christmas, guess what? You're still getting paid the same. So it's pretty great. Financial stability is definitely up there in terms of the benefits for joining the military. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about, you know, possibly enlisting. You know, if you're down on your luck, you know, you need some cash that's going to be steady and you know, consistent. Maybe the Army's for you. Another benefit is the people you meet in the military. I've met some of my best friends to this date, you know, through the military, and you just bond because you're going through some shitty situations together, and you know, people are bonded through experience. So being able to grow and progress with your friends, your battle buddies, is great because you make some lifelong friendships that'll last you even when you're out of the military. Like, I'm currently living with my old roommate from active duty time. He got a house here, and you know, I was like, yo, you renting out a room? He was like, yeah. And so here we are now, right? So to me, the people is always going to be one of the best things about the military, because you got all these different people from all walks of life. It's like a overload of just cultures and knowledge and stories that they can share with you that can help mature you and better you as a person. And speaking about bettering yourself as a person, room for development and room for advancement, right? People come into the Army, right, fresh out of high school. They really have no job experience. This is just for people out of high school, right? There's some people join at later ages, but if you're fresh out of high school or just at any age, really, the Army is going to help develop you. If you're like a shitty person or a shitbag, you really don't care for authority. I've seen it time and time and again where people like that join the military, and you know, they slowly start to change and they start to get better, taking on more responsibility, growing, maturing, and actually becoming a great leader. And that's just another thing about the Army. It'll take you from whatever point in life you're at, and it'll mold you into something better, possibly. You might, you know, you do a couple bad things, you know, in the military, whatever. Who doesn't, right? But in the long run, you know, it instills that discipline, that responsibility that you can then carry over into your civilian life. And in turn, that's talking about development, right? In terms of room for advancement, right? Promotions are automatic, so you're getting promoted unless you know, like, you're flagged or something, then you can't get promoted. But other than that, they're automatic. You know, it means your pay increases, and then once you get to specialist and you're going to E5, you know, points come into play. But you know, the points are there. You know, you can grab them. You can do PT tests, weapons qual, you know, online correspondence courses, all that stuff to progress. It just comes down to how bad you want it. And then once you get 5, you want to go to 6, same thing. You know, you got to make the numbers, you got to go to the board, all that stuff. But the room for advancement is there, so keep that in mind. So we got a few more pros, right? But I just want to take the second to tell you guys to like this video, comment down below so far what you think one of the best pros of joining the Army is, and also subscribe. But moving on, right? So travel. Who doesn't like to travel, right? And I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes this travel is involuntary, and it's probably not to some of the best places in the world, right? But nonetheless, you get to travel. People are going to Germany, South Korea. Like, for example, I went to South Korea. I got to go to Kuwait as well. Kuwait wasn't that much much fun. It was all right. We were just stuck on the base. But South Korea, we got to explore, see the culture, all that type of stuff. My brother's in Germany right now. So is my other buddy, and they get to explore the surrounding cities and all that type of stuff. So the travel is there. Sometimes you won't get to do it all the time because, you know, if you want to go overseas and stuff, you know, you have to be going on a rotation or a deployment. You can't just be like, oh yeah, hey, send me to Thailand or something, right? It doesn't work like that. But the opportunities are there to possibly travel on the military's dime. They're sending you there like for free because you either have a mission there or you just got to hold down the area. So travel is definitely one of those things that comes into the pros section. You know, it can also be a con, but in this case, it's more of a pro. And another one, guys, is the access to the workout facilities. I'm telling you, at Fort Bliss, we had a gym right down the street from us. We could go, just show your military ID, go in, work out, do all that fun stuff. It was a great time. And having easy access to a gym that you don't have to pay for is great because, you know, they have saunas, the upstairs track, you know, the pool maybe, and not all gyms are the same on every base, so keep that in mind. It varies, but you will have access to some sort of workout facility and or workout equipment that you do not have to pay for, which I think is another great thing about the Army in general, right? So to me anyway, that's my personal opinion on that. And one of the last pros of joining the Army, guys, is if you're feeling tired with civilian life, or you feel like you're in a dead end in the civilian life and you really don't have another place to go, or you feel like stuck at a dead end job, the Army definitely gives you a sense of purpose. And I'll say that's another pro. It gives you a sense of purpose. It makes you feel like you're a part of the team, you're a part of something bigger, and you're doing something better than what you were doing in your civilian life. So to me, being able to go from a civilian to a soldier is one of the best things, because, you know, you don't feel stuck anymore. You have that purpose, you know, you're driven, you got a job you're doing, you got training you have to do. So to me, that's also a pro. So with all those pros out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and hit the cons now. So I'm gonna say one of the first things for the cons is if you're not a morning person, it's going to suck, because you wake up bright and early most days in the Army, whether it's a basic training, AIT, OSIT, your first duty station, because you got to do PT, right? PT is free, you get paid to do it, so it's a pro. But the waking up part is definitely a con. I did not like waking up early. I know most of you guys don't like waking up early. It's just one of those things you have to do, you know. So there's that one right off the bat. So next up is the lack of freedom, right? The military is very protective over its soldiers, or, you know, in a certain way. They don't like you to have a whole lot of free time, and this isn't every unit, but say you're like on leave or something, or, you know, you're on a 4-day pass and they're like, oh, you know, hey, mass recall formation, you know, everybody needs to be here right now, let's go. There's always the chance that at the drop of a hat you need to be ready to be somewhere at a certain time, and that never sit well with me, just because, you know, if it's the weekend or something, like, hey, like, let me enjoy the weekend. Granted, you're a soldier 24/7, right? So that's always going to be one of those things that's there, and you're never truly free until you're out of the military. So for those of you that value your freedom to an extent, just know that the Army will become a priority in terms of where you need to be, what you need to be doing. You know, like, weekends aren't guaranteed in the Army. And with that being said, weekends not being guaranteed moves into the next con, right? And that is, there's really no set hours in terms of, you know, being in the Army. I've seen people go to work at, you know, 9 o'clock and get off by 11 a.m. So like a few hours later. I've seen people that wake up at like, you know, 5:30 to get ready for PT at 6, and they're doing PT from 6 to like 7:30. They go home, shower, eat, whatever. They have to be at work by 9 or 9:30, and they're there from like 9 a.m. to 8 a.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 10 p.m. It just varies. There's really no set hours until what you need to get done for that day is done. Hey, then you're good to go. And I know that used to rub me the wrong way. I'm just like, yo, this is lame. But, you know, it's just the name of the game. So keep that in mind. No set hours. So another big con, in my personal opinion, is probably the worst one, is toxic leadership. There's always going to be that one leader or a few leaders, you know, in leadership positions that are just out to get you, you know, or, you know, they just like making everybody's life miserable because maybe their home life is bad, or they just view themselves as, you know, above everyone else, or they want to, you know, set themselves up for success, and they really don't care about the soldiers beneath them. They're like, yeah, whatever, bro, go kick rocks. Like, I don't care about your career progression, like I'm here to make myself look good, or you'll do something and they take credit for it. And just toxic leadership comes in various shapes and sizes, so be on the lookout for that, because it is very, very prevalent in the Army, and it's something you do have to look out for. So the next one is mass punishment, guys. Mass punishment is usually when one person messes up, the leadership decides to take it out on multiple individuals, even though they had nothing to do with the situation. This is one of the things I've always hated about the military. Granted, basic training, AIT, I get it. Hey, they're trying to instill the discipline and to teach you to hold your battle buddies accountable. But in terms of being in the real Army, at your unit, active duty, say one person's late, they didn't show up on time, and now everybody's paying the price. Oh, well, since this person couldn't show up on time, we're all gonna show up 30 minutes prior to the formation or an hour prior to the formation. Like, no, bro, get out of here with that. Like, hold that one person accountable. Like, I would take that one person, make them show up every single hour on the hour to sign in on a piece of paper that I'm just gonna throw away later, right? Or have them sign in every single hour to the CQ desk, teach them about being on time, and then until they learn that lesson, hey, we're gonna keep doing that. You don't want to show up early to a hit time? Cool, we're gonna make sure you know how to show up on time. That's just my personal opinion on it. I used to hate it when somebody would mess up and everybody gets smoked for it. It's just complete bullshit. Like, it does not need to be a part of the Army, and it definitely decreases morale, in my personal opinion. What do you guys think? Do you think that would make you sad or mad, whatever, angry, if somebody messes up and you're getting punished for it? Like, I know I would. To me, like, I would hate that. So let me know in the comments your thoughts on that matter. Next up is everybody's favorite, hurry up and wait. This is like showing up to just hurry up and wait, right? Like, oh, we have a formation at 9 o'clock. Cool, let's get everybody here at 7:30. That way we can take a pre-accountability to the accountability. And then you have that one leader that's like, oh, well, hey, we got to get an accountability at 7:30. Let's have them show up at 6, just so we know everybody's going to be there, right? And so you show up at 6, you're waiting around, it's cold, and if you're showing up at 6, that means you have to wake up at like 5:30 or something to get ready, shit, shower, shave, whatever it is you need to do in your morning routine. And then you show up at 6, like, all right, cool, let's hit the formation at 7:30. You're good for the formation at 7:30, now you're waiting until 8. And then 8 o'clock rolls around, it's actually 9 o'clock, time to do whatever it is you're supposed to do. Oh, wait, but no, turns out the 9 o'clock formation just got pushed back to 10. So now you're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. You just literally had to rush to get there at like 5 or 6, and now you're waiting because it got pushed back. And just hurry up and wait is horrible in the Army. They definitely need to change it, because it's horrible. They need to just be definitive and set out an exact time, and whoever doesn't show up, hey, punish them accordingly. The last con is going to be favoritism, guys. You see this all around. This could probably fall under toxic leadership, but I'm going to mention it anyway because it is a big thing. There's people that are favored in the military just simply because they're funny or whatever, and they really don't do a whole lot of work, but they're cool with the leaders, so the leaders take it easy on them, but then punish the other individuals that aren't their favorites or they hang out with, and you're gonna see it time and time and again. That's just one of the things I personally dislike about the military and think is one of the bigger cons, because favoritism can also lower morale. And speaking of favoritism, kind of segueing into one last bonus con that I had and forgot to mention, but good soldiers are usually used and abused, guys. And what I mean by that is, if you're a good soldier, you're always volunteering, taking responsibility, doing this, that, and the other to help better the platoon. Chances are they're always going to use you for any detail that pops up because they know you can handle it, versus the one dude that is lazy, doesn't do anything, is probably pretty smart but plays dumb, so they don't give him responsibility. They're like, oh, hey, this person, we need 2 for this job, or we need 1 person to volunteer for this, and they're like, oh, well, let's get the good soldier to do it because we know he'll do something good, and they just completely overlook the shitty soldier just because, oh, well, we don't want this guy to mess it up, so let's send the good guy. And then it leads to the good guy being overworked, and then his morale is going down, and then he just kind of starts taking a step back because he doesn't want to be used and abused anymore. But keep that in mind, guys. Those are just some of the pros and cons of joining the Army, at any time period, really. I know the whole yellow phase and basic training can also be a con, right, because of the whole quarantining situation. So just throwing that one in there as well. But overall, guys, I enjoyed my time in the Army. I think most of you guys will too. There are some people that are real jaded by the military, leaves a bad taste in their mouth, and that's understandable because the military is definitely not perfect. But in terms of giving you financial stability, financial freedom, just educational benefits, I think the pros outweigh the cons if you have thick skin and you can put up with it. So keep that in mind. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like it, comment down below what your favorite pros and cons were, and again, subscribe, guys. It takes 2 seconds to hit that button. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you have any more questions, hit me up on my Instagram at Ben_Allen175. It's the best possible place to reach me. Again, I appreciate y'all tuning in here. It means a lot that you guys take time out of your day to watch my videos. With that being said, I'm going to put some here on the screen. That way you can click and watch after this one ends. But thank y'all so much. I look forward to the next video. And yeah, I'll see y'all on the next one. Later.